In this video, I'm going to show you the best hip exercises for instant pain relief that you can do at home using no equipment. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, Dr. Rowe coming to you from SpineCare in St. Joseph, Michigan. In this video, we're going to go over some great hip pain relief exercises that hit the hip just a little bit differently. It's going to focus on targeting different muscles in different areas. So go through them all, take what works best for you. As a bonus, all of these exercises can be done at home, do not require any equipment, and may give quick hip pain relief, even in as little as 30 seconds. So let's get started and fix that hip pain right now. With this, I'm going to take one of my favorite exercises known as the rock back, but add a little bit of a twist to it to focus more onto the hips, into the hip flexors. What I'm going to do is start off on all fours like this. You can do this one in bed or on the floor. If you do it on the floor, you might want to put a pillow or towel underneath your knees for extra comfort. The first part, I'm going to get into position. So I'm going to bend my elbows like this and place my upper body weight onto my forearms. My hands go together, elbows bent slightly away from the body. This should feel like a very good stable anchor point for the upper body. From there, I'm going to take my feet, put them together, and then slowly start to take my knees outward. Slide them out. The more that you slide them out, the more intense the stretch is going to get. This puts a lot into the hip, into rotation, but you're also going to feel the inside of the legs right here into the groin and pelvis start to get a very good stretch. So really focus on that. Once you hit a very comfortable stretch, what I'm going to do from there is then rock back. So I'm just going to take my butt towards my heels as much as I can, and this will really intensify that stretch. So only go to your comfort level, but challenge yourself to rock back as far as you can. From there, what I'm going to do is hold this position for about 5 to 10 seconds, and then I'm just going to then go back up and then rock forward. Rock forward with your body weight as much as you can. The more that you go forward, the more that you're going to feel a very good stretch into the front of the legs right here, into the hip flexors. Once we hit that comfortable stretch, this is how we're going to take it to the next level. I'm going to lift my feet up like this, and then I'm going to then take my feet outwards. This will put the hips into internal rotation. You'll really feel those hips activate. So really challenge yourself to drive those feet out as much as you can. Again, hold this for about 5 to 10 seconds. From there, you're just going to put them back, put the feet down, and then slowly go back into that original starting rock back position. You want to do this nice and slowly for about 5 complete repetitions. And with each repetition, try to just go into it just a little bit more, stretch more into it, because at that point you're going to get a lot more things loosened up and hopefully get a lot more pain relief. So here is a great exercise for stiff, tight, achy hips. I call it the wall opener. We're going to go next to a wall. What I'm going to do is position my body where my back is flat. You can lower your head down towards the floor too and put a pillow underneath it for extra comfort, or just hold it up with your hands. But we want to have the knees at 90 degrees, our feet flat against the wall. From there, what I'm going to do is just slide my heels up towards the ceiling until my knees are straight. What I want to do from there is then turn my feet outwards, and then I'm going to slowly lower my heels down towards the floor, kind of like an arc motion. The more that you go down, the more intense the stretch is going to be felt into the inner part of the leg, into the groin, into the pelvis, into the hips. So really focus on that. Once we hit a very comfortable but deep stretch, let's hold this for 20 seconds. From there, you're just going to relax, go back to that starting point. On the next repetition, try to build into it just a little bit more, stretch more into those muscles, because it hopefully will help with stiff, achy hips. With this exercise too, you may notice that one side goes down just a little bit further. So let's say that my right side here is not going down as far as my left. What I can do is press down just a little bit to get more of a passive stretch into that side to bring them both into balance. That's really important. Try to keep everything in balance. But you want to do this one nice and slowly for about 3 to 5 complete repetitions. Here is a great hip exercise I like to call the hip smasher. It's a 2-part exercise that's not only going to focus on getting quick pain relief, but putting a lot of good mobility into the hips through internal and external rotation. You can do this one in bed or on the floor. In the first part, we're going to focus on what is called the butterfly smash. This is going to help take our hips into external rotation. So if you're having a lot of trouble bringing your legs outwards, this may help. Let's start off on our back just like this. You can lower your head down during this exercise by just just placing a pillow or towel underneath it for extra comfort. So I'm going to take my feet, I'm going to press them together, and then from there lower them down into the bed or the floor. So I'm pressing into them, lowering them down at the same time, so this will help isolate the hips. From there, I'm going to take my knees and then drive them outwards and down. When you do this, you're really going to feel the hips start to activate. You'll also feel a good stretch into the groin, into the pelvis. Really focus on feeling that. Try to take those knees down as much as you can. Once you hit a very deep but comfortable stretch, let's hold this for 20 seconds. From there, you're just going to relax, take a breather, and then on the next repetition, challenge yourself to try to take these knees down even further. Do this for 3 to 5 complete repetitions. In the second part, we're going to focus on a little bit more internal rotation or taking the knee and hip inwards. This is a really good self-traction that usually results in a very deep but comfortable stretch. So I'm going to bend my knees like this. My feet are going to go flat on the floor or the bed. I'm going to take one leg up like this. The outside of that ankle is going to go on the outside of the other side's knee. So my left ankle is on the outside of my right knee. From there, I'm going to create an initial tension by pressing into it so this won't slip. You might want to take a pillow or towel to place in between the knees or the ankle too, just for a little bit extra comfort. From here, what I'm going to do is use this top leg to swing my knee inwards while I keep that foot flat. When you do this, try to keep the bottom right here as flat as possible too, but the more that you go inwards, the more that you're going to feel a very deep stretch right on the outside of the leg into the hips. So really focus on that. Try to drive that knee in as much as you can. And once you hit a very deep stretch, and I really feel it right now, it really feels good, I'm going to hold this for 20 seconds. From there, you're just going to relax, take a breather, and then repeat this for 3 to 5 times. Each repetition, try to stretch more into it. And when you're done on one side, always switch to the other to keep them both in balance. So here's a hip exercise that's a little bit more challenging. It's known as a squatting knee tap. I really like this one because not only is it going to help stretch a lot of things, but it's also going to help strengthen them. We're going to start off in a squatting position. Pretty much my body weight is on the ball of my foot and also onto my toes, just like this. From there, I'm going to put my hands in front of me like this for another anchor point. So it's kind of like a 4-point stance right here. The movement is very easy. What I'm going to do is take one knee, pivot it forward towards the center of my body, and just tap the floor, just like this. So we're putting a lot of good internal rotation into the hip by doing this. Just hold this for about 2 to 3 seconds. While doing this movement too, what we want to do with the other knee is then drive that out. So we're putting the hip into external rotation. That's another reason why I like this exercise, because we're getting a lot of good internal and external rotation at the same time. What I'm going to do from there is come back up and then just simply do it on the other side. When we do this, every repetition, I want to swing more into it, really drive those knees and stretch those hips, because it's only going to help loosen up everything into the legs, into the hips, into the pelvis, and possibly the lower back. But do this one for about 10 to 15 complete repetitions. We can take this one to the next level by putting a little bit more rotation into it. So I'm going to get back into my original 4-point stance. I'm going to take one arm, make a fist like this, and then with my whole back, from my pelvis to the upper back, rotate upwards towards the ceiling. When you do this, you're really going to get a deep stretch into the hips, so only go to your comfort level. You want to hold this for about 5 to 10 seconds. You're just going to come back down, relax, and then do it on the other side. But do this nice and slowly for about 10 complete repetitions on both sides. So if you stuck around to the end of the video, you're going to be rewarded with a great hip pain relief exercise that's so easy you can do it on a couch while watching television. I'm going to show 2 different exercises, and all of the positions that I'm going to get in, you're going to want to hold for 20 seconds. So that way I won't have to keep repeating it. With the first exercise, we're going to do what is known as a seated figure 4, or if you're into yoga, a seated pigeon pose. Let's go right to the edge of a cushion. I'm going to straighten one leg like this. I'm going to put the other side's ankle on top of our shin. From there, we're going to slide that ankle till it's over the straight leg's knee, and then we're going to take the straight leg and then bend the knee until it's at 90 degrees. When you look down, it should look like a figure 4, which gives the name, or I should say the exercise, its name. From here, we're going to put our hands on our hip, and then with very good upright posture, pivot through the waist, through the hips, lean forward. So we're not rounding the back, but instead we're pivoting through the hips. The more that you lean forward into this exercise, you're really going to feel it on the bent side's hip right here. So really focus on that. Again, hold this for 20 seconds, and then you're just going to relax, and then you're going to repeat this up to 5 times. With each repetition, try to bend into it just a little bit more. Challenge those muscles, and hopefully, again, that will target the hip just a little bit more. We can take this one to the next level by incorporating some dynamic movement into it to challenge those muscles even further. So let's get back into that position of pivoting forward like this, put our hands up like this, and then this time around, I'm going to add some rotation into it. So I'm going to bend away. What you'll notice is this hits the muscles just a little bit differently. So give that one a try, go back to the middle, and then go towards it. Which one hits it a little bit better? Throw some more repetitions in there. For the next part, what we're going to do is target a little bit more into the hip flexors. So I'm going to put a pillow on the floor, and then I'm going to put one knee down just like this. The back of our foot is going to be supported on our cushion. The other leg's knee is going to go at 90 degrees. And what I'm going to do is put my hands on my hips and then pivot forward at the waist. When you do this, you're going to feel a very good stretch into the front of the leg right here. That's the hip flexors, so really focus on that. Once we hit a very deep stretch, let's do about 3 to 5 repetitions of this, with each repetition just trying to go forward just a little bit more. Again, we can take this one to the next level by incorporating some dynamic movement. So let's go forward with it, put our hands up like this, and then do that rotational component similar to what we just did. Go all the way towards the right, and then go all the way towards the left. And notice if that just hits it a little bit better. We can also target off to the side right here with a muscle called the QL or quadratus lumborum, which is a big instigator of lower back pain. So I'm going to start with very good upright posture, put one hand over my head just like this, and then I'm going to pivot my whole upper body away from that side's hip. Again, you'll notice it pretty much stretches on the side here going into the hip. Give this one a try, and then go towards the other side. Notice if it hits it just a little bit differently, but you want to do that for 3 to 5 repetitions. All those together, whatever hits it better, throw more repetitions in, target the spots and movements that need it the most, and I hope that gives very quick hip pain relief. If the exercises helped, please support the channel by giving this video a like and maybe subscribing too. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching.